Hi everyone. This is a continuation of that previous video where I was trying to explain how our body's functions happen in normally when some chemical, biological or physiological toxins are impacting our health. And then I had transitioned a little bit to medical gaslighting that can happen to women because women have a very different approach to health and have very different access to even healthcare sometimes. So, those women who don't have economic power, they don't earn that much money or they don't have that much education. Now, if that person goes to a doctor, being generally a woman, there is a difference between women and men's approach. She will not go if she's from a socio-economic poor background. She will try not to go to the doctor because if she's a conscientious person, she will not go because she knows her husband can't afford going to the doctor, or if both of them are working, they know they don't have enough expenses to see the doctor. So she will try to not see a doctor and avoid seeing a doctor if her condition is managed by doing some self-care at home. That is the normal pattern for all women, because most of us, even though in the last 100 years we got equal women's rights in some ways, we got some jobs also in the last 30-40 years of human existence. Many women from my grandmother's time, from my mother's time in India, I knew many women who didn't used to work. Even now, from my own generation of people who have studied like me, who are well educated, who have engineering degrees, pharmacy degrees, medical degrees, healthcare science research degrees, there are so many degrees all my friends who grew up with me accumulated in their life. Some have master's degrees, some have PhD degrees also. I have PhD level friends, I have master's level friends, I have bachelor's degree friends. All of these women that I know in India or even in US, there are so many women who quit their jobs because they want to do family care, child care. So they completely quit their jobs or they partly take up a job and are not a full-time worker. That also happens. Some women get gaps in their work that after quitting their jobs for 10 years, they go back to work. But in the meantime, while they are not working, while they are doing child care, they are doing some healthcare practices at home. If a woman is mindful, if a woman has learned some good strategies from her parents and grandparents, as well as some strategies while maybe if they were studying in healthcare, they know what to do to take care of their health. They cook food, they will cook food mindfully for their kids and family. If their husband is sick, they will take care of their husband. If the husband is sick, if a woman is mindful, or if a son is sick and a woman is mindful, she will tell her son, you don't look good, go and see a doctor. So even if a man is not paying attention to his own health, if his neighbor or friend or family shows him that you are not looking well, go and take care of your health, the guy will go and see a doctor even if he was not watching himself, right? But for the woman, if she's not working, she's only at home, many a times there is no one to tell her go see a doctor. And if she is also the kind whose husband doesn't ask her how are you doing, what is going on, whose son doesn't ask her what is going on with your health, or son and husband or other families don't observe what is going wrong with her health, what is happening to her, will her health decline simply stop happening just because other people are not observing her health, right? So if someone is sick, their health decline will continue irrespective of who has observed their health decline. But because women have more conditions in their life where no one observes when they are falling sick, or people expect, if they were living in large joint families, people expect that the woman will continuously keep working and doing child care, family care things. Very rarely do I see women resting and relaxing. It's only in the modern 30-40 years of television that some women get the time to sit for 1 hour or a few hours in front of the TV. Some women even don't do that also. Some women just turn on the TV and they will continue doing their cooking activities, cleaning activities while the TV is playing in the background. This is a norm in India. in US, I used to live in US. I know US, some women get the luxury of watching maybe a show with their spouse or their husband, or they will jointly go and watch a movie and go for a date. But dating life is also not there in India, mostly after marriage. Very rarely do people go out on dates after marriage. Before marriage, some dating happens and people go for movies or some entertainment. But after marriage, people are so busy, they can't even bring that into their life because they are constantly just in the space of taking care of home life. So where will they get to look into their own health? Only if someone is single like me, someone who doesn't have job like me, I have the luxury to sit and watch mindfully what is going on wrong with my health. And why did I have this luxury? It is a luxury and a curse, because in my family didn't observe when I am falling sick. I had to become more mindful, because of which when I lived for 13 years in US, even though I had a potential cancer risk when the thyroid nodule showed up in my health, no one in my family even knew that I had that health issue. Why? Because they don't speak up with me. And while the 1 month, 2 month when I was scared whether it will be cancer happened for me, after that 1-2 months I completely forgot about it when the report came that it is a benign thing and it is not cancerous. And then if in that meantime I have gaps of 3-4 years where no one is talking to me, am I going to remember telling them my health incident of 10 years back? But now I have to speak, and I am speaking about all these incidences that slowly pile up towards health deterioration. Because though modern medicine practices that, when I went to a recent doctor related to this thyroid problem, she's like, tell me your recent symptoms. When that problem, that was a thyroid nodule, had escalated into lesions and was giving me some thyroid storm like symptoms, all of which I didn't do my self-diagnosis until after I had suffered for 1 year with those symptoms. And in those 1 year, my skin started looking glowing a little bit like this. So she assumed that I look healthy because my skin looks glowing. But when I was in the peak thyroid storm phase, which happened 6 months before or 8 months before I approached her, at that time in the peak thyroid storm phases, my skin had completely darkened up. I was having intense sunlight sensitivity. I was also having some throat pains which I ignored. I was also having hair fall, intense hair fall was going on, skin irritation, skin allergy was going on, cardiac heart rate was heightened. All of these are symptoms of thyroid storm or cytokine storm. I could have had even a cytokine storm combined with thyroid storm happening, because I had a flu-like symptom also prior. I had some thyroid storm symptoms happen for 5-6 months continuously. Then I had a flu, and then my thyroid and cytokine storm both could have combined to do some health harm. So I could have simultaneously thyroid related problem causing a thyroid storm, which means that storm is what? My cytokine system is overactive. Cytokine system being overactive means my body's inflammatory systems are also overactive. So my inflammation and allergic responses then became overactive. All as a downstream consequence of initially what happened. A thyroid problem escalating, allergy problem escalating. So 3-4 different problems slowly over time were escalating for me. And at that time when I'm in the midst of the experience, all it was showing up was intense skin irritation, skin allergy. And the previous video where I have posted about this lady who had eczema, she had eczema because her body, whatever was going on in her body, that was resulting in the eczema. She didn't know what is causing her skin irritation and eczema. That's why she could never stop the direct contact toxin from interacting with her body. But I was mindfully aware, because I was doing yoga and meditations before I fell sick. Because I was doing yoga and meditation before I fell sick, and I was going towards a little bit of natural health aligned practices too, with food and other things, food and nutrition and different practices, because of which I was more self-aware, and I was not working. And I didn't have a family life of kids and spouses or parents to look after. So because I was staying by myself for a few years, I had this resting phase where I could observe more carefully what was going wrong with my health. And what did I observe? That first I observed was the water in my home. Sometimes I would live with my parent, and brother, and in their home especially I observed that taking showers in that water in that home was causing skin irritation, scalp irritation. And it was not an observation one fine day I woke up that I'm getting it from water. From 5-6 years of being exposed to that water on and off, I realized that when I was staying in my own house I was not getting the skin irritation, but when I was living with my dad I was getting it. But what was I getting in my own home? Some face wash products that I use for washing my face, they were interacting with the chemicals in the water in that home. That home has a different water supply and this home has a different water supply. So both of them, because of the difference in the water supply in that home, and also I was using a different product in that home because I'm living in two places, I had two different brand face washes in two different homes. So in this home, while the face wash wasn't causing any skin color changes, in that home use of 3-4 months use of a particular product, where the product plus the water both likely were impacting my skin health, led to my skin to darken real bad. Then when I was going into thyroid storm or cytokine storm phase, that darkening of the skin was going into the leathery skin that cytokine and thyroid storm can cause on the body. But I analyzed all this about my health not when I was going through these symptoms. At the time you are a patient. I'm just patiently seeing that I'm getting all these symptoms. I was just observing that I have these symptoms, but they were still at a manageable level. That's why I didn't go to the doctor. And this is not my experience that I'm getting some symptoms for 3-4 years and I'm not seeing a doctor when it is a mild symptom. But when did approach a doctor, even though these thyroid storm symptoms were happening in my body slowly, which later I have correlated. While that same time when the thyroid storm happened, I was using some rangoli that caused some skin irritation. So when I went to the doctor, she saw the skin irritation and she gave me a prescription for the irritation and allergy. So it's not that I didn't take the medicine she gave me. But when she gave me the allergy medicine, that medicine being a particular liquid that smelled in a particular way, and I felt it had ingredients that would make me very drowsy. And at that time I was somehow I felt that was not the right medicine to take, because my health issue that had happened from rangoli was a skin irritation issue. She gave me a medicine for allergy. It was not an allergic response that happened. It was a proper poisoning that happened from the chemicals in that rangoli. How it got these chemicals, I don't know. But that chemical in the rangoli caused my skin to completely burn, like how acid can burn our skin, like that acidic response happened. Now if I had gone to a doctor who will ask me better questions, or if I tell them it is acidic burn, they should understand sometimes that the patient might have a little bit more knowledge sometimes than them, or same knowledge as them. That's why I said it was an acidic burn. But she didn't believe me. She just looked at how the scar looked on my skin and assumed that it is an allergy and gave me an allergy medicine. But because I was not having allergy symptoms, because at that time my skin allergy was not happening. I was living in a different home. So there I didn't have skin allergy. So I didn't take the allergy medicine. She had given me some other medicines for my condition, which I did take. So this skin irritation problem went away, and I threw away the burning sensation causing rangoli, because I didn't want it to impact my health. But now when I came back to my father's home, here what happened, some symptoms happened again. I had seen the doctor because I was getting some multiple health things were going wrong with my health at that time. It was not just one thing going wrong. So there were 3-4 different health conditions going wrong. At that time I got stomach upset, and this stomach upset and stomach flu related symptoms that happened. When I went to the doctor, she gave me some medicines for the stomach flu. I also got seasonal flu at that time, so she gave me medicine for the seasonal flu. So it's not that when I have some health problem I don't go to the doctor. When it is unmanageable by normal home approaches, I went to the doctor. The doctor gave me medicine for that problem. But the thyroid problem which was going on in the background while I am getting stomach flu, regular flu, that thyroid problem was manifesting slowly, developing slowly. I didn't realize it, but after 1 year of suffering through some thyroid symptoms, and I was also having some breathing problems. So I was trying to look at my old reports from US when I had faced a breathing problem in US. So when I was looking for my lung reports, I didn't find my lung reports, I found my thyroid report. And when I saw my thyroid report, the thyroid nodule that I had in my throat in this area, 10 years back, 12 years back, it was detected in US. That report I found, and I finally realized maybe it's a thyroid problem I should look into. And I went and I was not practicing pharmacy, I was not practicing healthcare in that time. I had a 3-4 years of gap of not practicing any kind of medicine. So I had forgotten everything related to thyroid related symptoms, but some symptoms that basically stayed in my background, I was like, yeah, some of these symptoms do seem like a thyroid problem. So let's go and look at all the symptoms related to what I had been manifesting in a span of a few years. That's when I realized that many of my symptoms are matching with a thyroid storm. That's why I went to an endocrinologist who treats thyroid problems. She, in her thing, she had said she is treating thyroid patients. But she's a standard. When I said in my first video that there are baby level doctors, she's a baby level doctor. She only treats, most of the time she likely finds people whose reports show that their thyroid hormones are in imbalance, and she gives them some medicine for hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism. Rest of the other thyroid diseases she doesn't observe. And maybe she does observe if the patient has gone to her with darkened skin, then she might observe. Or if they have a big goiter here, she might observe that they have goiter. But at that time I didn't have goiter, but I had a lumpy nodular growth here. She didn't observe it because I looked very clean and healthy. Also because it was the pandemic lockdown. It had been a year after the pandemic lockdown had started, but even though a year had passed, she was still fearful about the pandemic. So when I was talking about and she was also very insistent, tell me the recent symptom. Whereas I had actually 1 year of symptoms to talk about, which are all correlated to thyroid problem. She was not ready to listen. I'm like, ma'am, you need to listen. I have these problems from a long time. No, I want you to tell me what is your recent symptom. This level of baby level of medicine is being practiced in India, where people don't understand. Some patients can have 1-2 year, 10 year also health history happening, for which they will need to approach you because development of cancer, this nodule has potential to convert into cancer any time after the nodule has been detected. Any time, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, any time it can get cancerous. But when will it get cancerous? When cancer supporting factors are present in the nodule. So why I am mentioning this is because when you go to a doctor, many doctors are trained to think that you should only ask the patient what are their recent symptoms. But patients don't go always to the doctor with recent symptoms, especially if it is a serious health issue, if it is a complex health issue. Some of the complex, slow developing health issues occur in a patient with symptoms manifesting in their body for many years. My recent thyroid symptoms were from 1 year, but my oldest thyroid symptom was from 10-12 years back, which was present in that medical report from US. She was going to ignore completely my symptom, but I finally decided, and she didn't listen to, because my recent symptoms were what? Allergy. I was getting skin irritation and skin allergy, which happens if your inflammation is high, which will happen if your allergic responses are high, from other reasons also, because I just didn't have a thyroid problem happening at that time. I was happening 2-3 other health issues at the same time. So I saw the thyroid specialist. She was ignoring me. She only heard about the recent symptom of allergy. Because she was not listening to me, I forgot that I was having continuous hair fall in the 3-4 months before I saw her. I was a continuous hair fall. So does hair fall every day? No, someday I will have a clump of, and I'm not observing that much also. I'm not that mindful when I'm really sick. So I was not sitting and counting, oh, today I have hair fall or yesterday I had hair fall. No, but I had observed that in the last 3-4 months, when the maid is coming to clean my room, there is clump of hair in the floor, or when I am combing my hair, I am getting some clump of hair coming in the comb. So that I had observed, but it was not a recent yesterday's symptom or 2 days back symptom. It was a continuous symptom of monthly or weekly some clumps of hair falling, which, because she was being very not patient friendly, I will say, and not willing to listen to the patient, I forgot about telling her that symptom. I also forgot about telling her the symptom related to the leathery skin. I had literally taken an old photo from 1 year back where my leathery skin was showing in a couple of photos. But I forgot about telling all that because that was a 1 year old back symptom. I forgot about the intense sweating, drooling that had happened. That is also a thyroid symptom, cytokine storm or thyroid storm symptom. Because that symptom had happened 6 months back and she's not willing to listen to past symptoms. So past or just even 1 week back symptom, I forgot to tell. The only consistent immediate symptom that day happened to me, 2 days back happened to me, was skin allergy. So after here, skin and food allergy was happening to me. So, and food allergy was related to thyroid, which I will speak in many, I think I might have spoken about this in another video. But because of all this, when she was ignoring me, but because luckily I had this 12 years old report from US, that report I finally showed her. When I finally showed her that report, that's when she is coming and looking at this area to see whether I have some problem here. I forgot to tell her about my cardiac symptom also. Or maybe I did tell her the cardiac symptom because that was also a very recent symptom. But with the cardiac symptom also, many thyroid specialists, if they are at the baby level, don't understand that cardiac symptoms manifest when you are having heightened things. Or she didn't correlate because she's focused on coronavirus and she's focused on skin allergy, food allergy, so she is not understanding. And she's also a stupid doctor because why will someone go to a thyroid specialist, especially if she's written in her thing that she's a thyroid specialist, if no other doctor has referred me to her? A person will go directly to a thyroid specialist only if they've done their educational research that this is the doctor who will likely help me with my symptoms. If a doctor didn't reference me, I will go to a doctor that way because of my educational knowledge, irrespective of whether I had a healthcare background. If I was even a normal, like the other woman who has written about her medical gaslighting, she had skin symptoms, she went to a dermatologist, the medicine was not working. Then she had to do her own investigation and find other doctors before she finally figured out what was going wrong. So like that, sometimes educated people go to the doctor knowing that this doctor should likely address these symptoms. But if the doctor is not awakened to a patient's consciousness, if you know a little bit slightly, you might also have some healthcare knowledge. Many doctors assume every patient that is coming is uneducated in healthcare, but which is a false paradigm. Some patients have some healthcare education, some patients just have from Google only, they will have some knowledge, but they are not misinformed. That Google knowledge also will give them some hints at least to which organ is malfunctioning, right? So she ignored my cardiac symptom, but she finally, seeing that report, she saw that there is a lump here. She finally gave me the test necessary to go and do the ultrasound. The ultrasound place recommended that I do a FNAC, and I didn't go back to her. I directly went to the FNAC now. Because in my previous thing also, when the nodules were high, I had to do a FNAC. I had this step from US Healthcare, so I knew this is the next step. So I agreed and went ahead directly to do the FNAC. Again, I went to a hospital directly. And this is where Indian systems are failing. If you are an educated patient, if you are a knowledgeable patient, if you have healthcare knowledge, if you know what is the protocol for the next step to unfold in your health, if such a patient arrives with you, their system is busy trying to find who's the referral doctor. They will give all the information to the referral doctor. But the patient needs the info, not the doctor. And especially if the referral doctor is useless, you don't need to give the information to the referral doctor. You need the information to the knowledge oriented person in the healthcare system, which is for the patient. If the patient is more healthcare knowledge, he or she knows what is going on with their body. You also have to inform the patient. Patients don't get informed well in our country, in India, which is a major problem. Because then if I have found a useless doctor, if you're only sending my report to a useless doctor, useless or a baby level doctor who doesn't know complex patient history, or she's too rude for me to go to her again, I will just not go to that doctor, because she was insulting to the patient, considering that the patient doesn't know anything, and she was not ready to listen to my 1 year's symptoms. She doesn't have the time to listen, she doesn't have the grace to listen, she doesn't have the educational, even though she has studied it in her exams, but she doesn't have in her practical knowledge, that practice of understanding that some patients can have 10-year-old patient history, 5-year-old patient history, 1-year-old patient history. That education has not come and seeped into Indian healthcare practices of many doctors I saw during all these different journeys. And this one is the first major problem I faced in doctors. Second major problem, I also consulted a internal medicine doctor who is very famous in West Bengal, who is my uncle. After having been a little pissed off after seeing, and not immediately after seeing this doctor, after when my report showed that there could be some cancerous problems in the reports, I got scared and I called my uncle. Now, being my uncle, should he only look at me as a patient